What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk to you about SoFi. I want to go over some of the current data points, break it down what really moved it, and what might be coming next. Before getting to any of that though, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So SoFi did close flat. So as crazy as today was, it did lose all the gains near the tail end of the day. There was a lot of optimism first thing during the pre-market though, because of both Microsoft and Meta. So that was really hyping up the broader market. And then you had negative data. So starting off, we did have manufacturing. It was a little bit higher than the forecast, but still below 50. Anything below 50 shows more of a contraction occurring in the broader market. So it came in at 48.7, forecast was 47.2. Prior to that though, you did have initial jobless claims coming in a little bit hotter than anticipated. So 241 versus 225 the forecast. So that's what really spooked the market. And almost every single day this week, we've had at least one data point being seen as and interpreted as negative, prompting a sell-off. 9 times out of 10, it's recovered fairly well, so no different than today. So it did cause that sell-off, but then it did recover. But yeah, it's getting very, very tiring because you can see that the market is trying to find and grasp at some straws. And what I mean by that is they're trying to be optimistic. They're trying to find reasons to move higher, but data points are making it very difficult. Even in fact, Trump himself, I feel like, is adding a lot of stress on the market. So a lot of things with Iran was said today, but he did ultimately mention that anyone buying oil from Iran cannot do any business with the US. And I think that was more of a jab against China. At least smart investors kind of read between the lines, because China, where do they buy a lot of their oil from? Iran. So essentially, they are screwing over that deal. So you had pretty much at the beginning part of the day, Trump stating that there is going to be a tariff update, a positive tariff update by the business close or whatever it was today. So far, I don't think anything's come out yet, but you also at the same time have this. So it's very crazy how all of this is. So the market is really trying to find some reason to move higher, but even after hours today, you are seeing it pull back. So SoFi is down 1.2%, and that's because of very bad future guidance by both Apple as well as Amazon, and all of that is linked to tariffs. So like I said, the market really wants to move higher, but eventually it's just going to say F it, and it is going to plummet. So it is just a matter of time before that does happen. Tomorrow we do have some more data points. Like I said, every single day we've had at least a pullback because of some data points, then it recovers, but you never know. With Apple and Amazon both giving some fairly bad future guidance, that could really kickstart a little bit more of a pullback. So something just to keep in mind. But non-farm payroll as well as unemployment is coming out tomorrow first thing at 7:30. So just kind of stay tuned for that. But aside from all that though, the only thing I wanted to bring up, there wasn't any news, official news from SoFi, no SEC filings, but data-driven investing did bring this up. So we already do know that SoFi launched, I think it was like a year and a half ago, the buy now, pay later type of thing. They did start it at 500, but it looks like they did raise it to 2,000. So clearly it's very profitable and beneficial to them, and I think based on all the data shows that there's a lot of demand for this. So I think this should be and work out fairly well for SoFi. So hats off to data-driven investing on Twitter. So if you don't follow them, definitely recommend doing so. But aside from that though, shorts did return 115,000 shares. So they pretty much just sat back and let the market do its thing, because like I said, the market's trying its very best to go higher, but a lot of the data points aren't coming in line with expectations. You have Trump just, it feels as though, kind of trying to purposefully damage the market at this stage. But so they're just sitting back and chilling out for the most part. So 13.83% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 149.99 million shares. And you can tell that they are sitting back is because you don't see that cost to borrow minimum being negative, meaning they don't have to manipulate the market to try and incentivize shorting. They can just charge whatever the hell they want and people will buy it. But As far as options, kind of low dollar value today. So 12 million in calls, 2.51 in puts. 46% of all the options being done though were optimistic in nature, and I believe most of that did occur in the first half of the trading day, but a little bit low. So you had 14.6 million in total premiums today, 28 yesterday, 77, and then 60. So it is the hype is somewhat diminishing a little bit with SoFi, but based on at least the calls that were done today, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that 14 to 14.50 though, so still a certain level of optimism. Then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub roughly 12 to 11.50. With today being Thursday and obviously tomorrow Friday, this is the open interest, so kind of just take note of that. So you have 21,000 at that 13, 23,000 at 13.50, 11,000 at 12.50, and then 10,000 at 12. So for whatever reason, if SoFi does gain some pretty good momentum and gets close to the 13, you might see shorts wake up just to manipulate it down, as what we've seen in the past. These are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market. So a lot of pockets of selling, as you can kind of see right here. And then pretty much it wasn't, most of this was actually selling coming from big institutions today. Algorithmic trading must have been really buying and trying to really prop up the market, but it doesn't look as though based on this, big money was essentially buying the dip. And based on this, I can give you a quick overview right here. So this dip right here, that essentially is this. So shorts did help cause this to go higher. Maybe that was linked to the recovery with Robinhood at the same time. So Robinhood randomly opened, I think it was like 3% in the red despite pretty good earnings. So it's a crazy market. As I've stated in the past, it's very difficult to catch the bottom. So I think the best thing to do is just dollar cost average. That's kind of the safest way to go. But these are all the transactions that did occur on the dark pool. So I bring this up because, as what we've seen in the past, a lot of shorts love to hide a lot of their transactions through here. And this is why during the the NASDAQ's disclosures and reports, we always see them increasing like a lot more than what we previously thought. So 5.3 million, so a big transaction there, 2.8, 2.8, so nice duplicate for that. And then first thing, you had 25.3, or sorry, that was at like 149, 2.5 million. So yeah, a lot of big transactions, but clearly that might be big institutions behind the scenes, or again, like I said, shorts. But with it right now closing at 12.51, trading between these 2 points is R1 in the pivot. 11.87 is going to be that strong support, and then 14.13 is going to be the next strong target / resistance. So things have lowered down a little bit. There was, I believe, one new rating. It shows yesterday right here, but I believe it was actually posted after hours yesterday or maybe early this morning. So Dan, who has a 49% success rating, did give a $20 price target, and that's pretty much matching Kyle's that gave a 20 yesterday from Needham. So good to see some bullish kind of the $20 range analyst ratings. So that's now the highest that we do have, so $20. But still, it's just unfortunate, right? Even with kick-ass earnings, it seems as though SoFi is just poised to go down time and time again. But on the actual chart, one very key point to watch for in the next little bit is going to be $12.26. That is the 50-day moving average. And so most likely it looks as though it is going to be tested tomorrow. So just watch for that. And then 11.72, that is going to be that 200-day moving average. If the 200-day is broken, then we already kind of know what happens based on that. You have a very quick and aggressive pullback. And like I mentioned, all the market is doing is trying to hold on for dear life, but there's a lot of external kind of things all really pounding the market, and eventually it's just going to say, F it, I'm done, peace out. I'll check you back in when the S&P is at like, I don't know, 5,200 for instance, or whatever. So we'll just have to wait and see how it does play out. But luckily enough, that 50-day moving average is holding on for kind of saving grace for the most part. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Did you buy the dip? Have you been doing anything with options? I know it does seem bleak right now, and the market seems to be very poised to really go down. But if for whatever reason the market does go higher, times like this is the best time to make a lot of money by buying calls. Even generally speaking, 6 months, a year, 2 years from now, in theory, it should be significantly higher from where it is now. So anyone buying calls could really stand to benefit, but it's all about timing. Like I said, SoFi even specifically is extremely frustrating because it is very volatile and sometimes it just doesn't follow logic whatsoever. So let me know your thoughts on SoFi. Did you buy? Did you sell? What's your viewpoint just on overall the market and it going down as much as it is? Trump, his influence on it, like, are you satisfied with this? Or does it make you want to invest more? Or I've seen a lot of posts and even articles coming out from institutions saying that they are scaling out, that they don't like all this volatility. So it's like if someone struggles with anxiety, I feel like this market would just put them over the edge a little bit. But nonetheless, hopefully everyone had a good day. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Definitely worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.